Show. Today I'm here with Madelyn Brene, an innovator, a trendsetter, and an opera singer who sings trap opera. So we're going to learn all about trap opera today and talk to Brene about her journey in music. So thank you so much for coming, Madelyn Brene.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you.
And I call you Brene because my name is Renee, so of course we're
Right.
friends,
But
right?
everybody calls me that. It's so funny. Everybody calls me that. Like nobody calls me Madeline anymore. They either say Madeline Brene or they just say Brene
Yeah, I
all
don't.
the time.
It just
So
came.
so you're in good company. You're fine. You're
Thank
fine.
you, thank you. So, we're going to talk a little bit about your journey in opera. So, was there a point in your life when you just fell in love with opera and you knew that that was like the thing you wanted to do?
You know what? I have been singing since I was 3 years old, and I started singing classically around 9. I knew my voice kind of lended itself to that, and so I started singing like some little art songs, and I did fall in love with the genre, but it wasn't until I got to college that I really, of course, fell in love with it, and then started singing professionally, and got my degree in vocal performance from SMU, and then just continued to love the art form. But in particular with the art form, I used to love the different type and the stylings and the freedom of opera. So like portamento and I love a lot of Puccini. That's my favorite. But my senior year, I actually did a paper on Black composers in opera, and there were not that many, and so I had to really dig deep and find them. But that just made me fall in love with it even more. Just the little nuances that people really didn't know about.
That is amazing. So, you attended Southern Methodist University,
I
and that's
did.
kind of where you realized that, okay, music is possible. I can do this. How do you or did you stay motivated on this journey, especially when it gets challenging?
Well, I think it depends on what challenges there are. I mean, there's so many challenges and so many types of challenges. So there's life challenges, there's relationship challenges, there's challenges with your own emotions. And I think that confidence was a challenge for me because I really didn't know myself, when I first started out. And so I was singing, I had a great voice, but there was so much that I had to learn about myself as a woman. And then, of course, like life things, things that would happen in school. So I think that just what kind of gave me the strength to keep going was just kind of finding a little bit more about myself and just letting myself have the process and the journey, if that makes sense.
That's amazing. Like,
Yeah,
I love how you just kind of allow yourself to experience life
yeah,
regardless of what's happening. And I
yes.
love to hear people talk about like confidence and confidence levels because that's something I struggled with in college as well. It's just
Hmm.
like I felt so bad I stopped singing, period. So,
College was trauma. College was trauma for a lot of Black singers. It really was. A lot of singers in general, but it was a lot of trauma for people in particular because I feel that you have this group of people telling you who you are and telling you, defining you, and letting you know what you're probably going to be based on what you're getting in college. And so you kind of automatically have this nuance of like, I'm not good enough. I don't sing as well as her. I may not be able to do this professionally. And so all these thoughts that are in your head, you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had those things. And you persevered, and now you're just on Instagram, you're dancing with opera, you're singing with opera, you're like making a creolization of art forms, and it's just so inspiring to see you take opera and take something that you love and make it into what you need it to be, what you want it to be, what you see it can be in the community. And I think that that
Yeah.
is very, very, very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Put this up some. There we go.
Okay, so I discovered you while I was watching the Terrell show, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, opera is finally here! We have made
Yay!
it!
And that's what everybody said. Excuse my gum. I'm always chewing gum, so it's like, but that's just me. So yeah. But
So,
yeah, I love the Terrell show. And doing it was so impactful. And it was something that I needed to do because I think it was the pinnacle of my career where I understood that I could do this and
mhm,
that there was a need for it and there was a need for my voice and my story.
right.
And so that really touched me. And still to this day, it touches me. That was kind of like, I knew that I had a purpose, but I think watching that and seeing how many people related to my story on that show, it made me so happy and it made me really feel fulfilled.
Right. And
Yeah.
I just love how you just were so transparent. You shared a lot about yourself, of course, but you're sharing the art form of opera, and you're just singing it anytime, anywhere. It's like so many people feel so nervous when they're coming to perform. I'm on Clubhouse now, so just talking to like people about performing, and just like, well, I don't feel good about performing, and just having an artist like you who's like, okay, I can sing opera in this space, and I can sing opera in this space, and I can sing opera with this style of music. It's just like very, very powerful because people want to feel like they can share themselves as themselves in any space they're in.
Yeah, definitely. It took me a while to do that, but I think, like I said, once you start loving you, you just kind of sing and do whatever you want anytime. You know what I mean? So I think that that's definitely what I was, and I think that with Terrell's show, the other thing about opera is that normally it's not as quote unquote fun. It's not as personable as some people would think because it's usually, accredited to like the bourgeois, if you will. And
Right.
so being able to have that relatability is what I think that most people really enjoy. Like, oh, she's an opera singer, but she's singing these, songs, and she's joking and she's cursing and she's, just being herself. And that really is truly who I am.
Right, right. And it's just so inspiring, and I'm glad that we were able to have this time to talk a little bit about your experience with opera.
Mhm.
So, you have clearly made your own path in opera. You're really making a name for yourself. You're doing the work to be both an influencer on Instagram, an
Mhm.
influencer in social media, period, and using opera and doing the things that you love with that. How do you continue to promote yourself in this art form and the art form itself?
Well, when I first started being an influencer, that wasn't really intention. I actually, just kind of got into it because I love fashion and people started asking me how much I charge. At the time, I had recorded an album that was a combination of R&B and soul and opera and everything. And it was called All of Me. And it was really just a portrait of just kind of where I was at my life. Like I was kind of all over the place, not in a bad sense, but just figuring out who I was, right? And so when I recorded that, I went broke. I went broke trying to record an album. I'm talking about like $7,000, which is a lot for me, at my age at the time. And I went broke kind of trying to do it. And I think that I was just trying to scrap up things, and I was teaching. And I think that the influencer, when that came along, I didn't realize how much money I could make from it. But that money actually helped me to be able to fund the other projects. And so now, in addition to me continuously growing in my influencing and partnerships that I work with different brands, I'm now extending that and trying to teach other artists, because that has been something that's always been dear to my heart, is artists really being good business people, because most of the time we just want to live our dream, but we're not looking at all the other things that may be happening. And so I want to teach artists how to make several streams of income, how to really take their voice and use that, but then use other things to be able to make money, because that's essentially, when you get to a record label, what they do endorsements and all types of things, because they understand that performance just won't do it by itself.
It, that is so true. That is
Yeah.
really so true because you have to really be in the business of it because it's not cheap. Trying to do, like you said, do CDs because you want people to know what your voice sounds
Oh
like.
my
It's
gosh,
people
it's crazy.
auditioning,
Yeah.
learn
I
doing
started,
role studies.
yeah, it's crazy. I started taking all of my influencer money and paying off that debt that I had for my album. But I also, used it to kind of put in towards some other things. I put it towards some businesses that I wanted to start. I recently just got an LLC because everything, I was starting to conjoin everything. And I just needed to do that to better myself. But I'm just hoping that I continue to be a light to shine on other singers, because when we can't do our dream and we can't have it because of money, and we have to work these jobs and really do what we don't want to, we feel unfulfilled and unvalidated,
Mm.
or invalidated rather. And I think that, being able to create my own lane has really helped me to kind of put my stamp on stuff, and really just say, no matter what, I'm going to do this, but I have all this money coming in from different pots. So I don't even have to worry about that from what happens here. I know it will come, but
Hmm.
I already am set. So that's really what I'm trying to do for other artists, is to help them with that.
Awesome. So on your website, it talks about you teaching voice. So is this a new venture, helping artists? Re-
Well, I teach voice, and I've always taught voice, but I think that this new venture is more so, and not even artists. It first started as Kirby coaching, right? And it
Mhm.
was supposed to help Kirby women kind of be an influencer and start their influencing business. But then I would talk to so many of them, and so many of them were, they maybe wanted to sing or maybe had other talents or they were a chef. And so I started to kind of like get all of these things that they could do and give them these ideas. And then one day when I was, sitting on my couch, I was like, I should really open this up to just people in general. So for about 2 weeks before the end of the year, I really was on the phone like all day, every day with people that had signed up for like these $50 coachings at the time. It's definitely more now because the consulting fee has gone up, but I wanted to do it just to see how it worked out. And it was so amazing because each person had a different story. Each person had something different that they were trying to do. And I was basically able to take my social media expertise and help them kind of customize their plan to kind of bridge out of just their one little sector and make multi incomes.
And I think that that's so important for opera singers. I think that's the biggest question is like, how do you brand yourself as an opera singer? And I just feel like it's not too different from any other art form or any other
Mm-hmm.
creative venture. You have to, follow the steps and be dedicated. And I feel like having coaches like you can help them kind of focus in and narrow in on what their brand is going to look like. How can they present themselves to the world? So, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely important for opera singers because they really need it.
Well, I think it's important for all artists. So if you look at people like Rihanna, we
Mhm.
know her as Rihanna, we know her as music, but she's branched herself off into a businesswoman. She's branched herself and has like, Fenty Skin, Fenty Beauty, then, Fenty, whatever. She's keeping it all in line. She's basically created these umbrellas off of her name, but music is still at the top. And now she's gotten herself to the point where she can release music whenever she wants and the people will be ready for it. That's really what I'm trying to teach artists to do because we get so stuck on the singing thing, but we don't understand that there's other facets and you really want people to, you know, not just brand you as an opera singer, but brand you as a name. When they say Madelyn Brene, they're like, oh, she's a model, she's a singer, she's this. And that's great because it is not a way to put me in a box. So that makes me more marketable.
Yes, exactly. I love
Yeah.
everything you said there. And I
Mhm.
hope that people will contact you and follow you, go to your website so they can find out more information about what you can offer them and help them on their
Definitely.
journeys.
Definitely. I'm ready to help because I just want, I've seen it. I've been through it all. I've been through it all. And so I really want to help people not make the mistakes that I've made or to have the help because I think that's a part of my journey and my calling from God too. So,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. So let's get into trap opera a little bit. How would you
Yeah.
describe that? How would you describe trap opera?
Okay, well, so trap, when you think about the trap,
Mhm.
we're black. So when you think about the trap, you think about anything that goes on in the house where they're mixing up stuff, they
Mm,
making it work to make the dollar, right? And
right.
so that's basically what trap opera is. It was just me, in the house mixing up stuff that I felt like the people needed. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt
Mhm.
like you know, I there would be times when I'd be sitting in a car and I'm like leaving an opera with my gown on and I'm kind of doing a little twerk in the car and I'm like, I just really should add something to this. Sorry, something loud,
Right.
but I should add something to this. Or, if I would go in the studio and I would be rapping and think about like some vocal lines. And I just was like, what if actually took the trap and the opera and made it work. And so one day in New York, I actually had a show. Sorry, there's something in my eye. I'm going to talk while I'm doing it because that's what divas do. We keep going.
Yep.
Anyway, I was in New York doing a show and we actually did the habanero and we mixed like a hip hop beat, trap beat on it.
Oh, wow.
And it was the last song of the night. We got a standing ovation. And so from that moment on, I was like, this is something. And I think for years, it took me a while. That was like 3 years ago. It was like during a Grammy showcase. But it just took me a while to really perfect it because people thought I was crazy. They were like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
Um, and then I just kept doing it. I kept starting to remix rap songs and just started to be like, balls to the wall and just kind of being me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when I did the Terrell show, I did this beatbox beat.
Mhm.
And I had done some other songs and had gotten some notoriety. And people were like, okay, I like this. I had a huge person reach out to me, which I'm going to be working with this year, a huge rapper, and reached out to me about some stuff. And so that's, on the cards. I can now kind of talk about it because we're in the process of getting things rolling. But a
Mhm.
producer from the Roots who plays, for like Jimmy Fallon and all that, he
Mhm.
heard me do that beatbox thing. We literally sat on the phone and did a track in like 20 minutes. And it
Whoa.
felt right. Yeah, it felt right. And, he was classically trained, but he also, as a musician, resonated with what I was saying on the Terrell show as well.
Mhm.
Just about not feeling like, you were good enough or that you had to be in this certain box because of what people expected you to be.
Right.
So we knocked it out right then and there, and so now we have a single, and now it's being born, and so I'm really excited about it.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I love
Mhm,
that. I love it because you like living your authentic life. You're being your
mhm.
best self at all times, living in the fullness of yourself, and that just brings even more opportunities to you. And you're, prepared for that because you know yourself. And I think
Yeah,
that's really, really, really amazing.
definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
So another outstanding thing about you is that your community service work, and I
Mhm.
love the video where you surprised a young woman who wanted to be an opera singer. It was just so beautiful to me. And reading to
Yeah.
your nieces the book about Lily's first opera, and
Mhm.
so why is community service so important to you?
I've been in education for 10 years, and, there's no greater teacher of anything than life, right? And so, all the things that I've been through in life, I feel like it's now time for me to give back in some type of sense. When I met the young lady, Deja is her name, I didn't even know her. Her aunt had contacted me and said that she wanted this for Christmas. And I'm like, okay, but we're in the middle of COVID. And I was kind of like, all right. And she literally DM'd me and she kept DMing me. And I was like, okay. But
Right.
this girl was like literally my biggest fan. And literally, like, it was so heartwarming because I know that there are people that follow me, but I really truly do have like fans and they don't play about me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and it's great to see. I call them Brene babes, but I
Mhm.
try my best not to say fans because it still feels awkward, but I'm trying to get out of that because my people are like, you have fans, it's okay. But anyway, so when I met her, it was just the most beautiful experience because I had not really understood what my impact and what my necessity was as far as the world, being curvy, being African American, being someone who wasn't afraid to live out loud and use her art and change the game and not care
Right.
what, excuse me, other people were gonna think because I know the conservative people probably be mad, but I don't care,
Yeah, they
like
all got something to say. You already
you
know.
know,
It always
it's
got something
okay.
to say.
But like I said, one day they'll be mad first, and then they're gonna invite me to perform with a pop orchestra, and I'm gonna be twerking with the baton. So that's just what it is.
And
Like
that's
I
just
can
what it
already see
is.
that.
Okay.
So not even concerned. And everybody who's gonna be supporting, like I love her.
Mhm.
Let's book her. So for me, I just community service is so important because I feel like whatever is going on in my life, whenever I was born, it just is bigger than me. It's so much bigger than me. And the two little girls were actually, they're not my biological, nieces. They're actually one of my friends that went to college with me, and they're her daughters.
Mhm.
And so just having that person who was in school with me, who saw me kind of singing opera and being able to read to her little girls, it just was just so fulfilling. I don't even know. Every day I'm just getting surprised. I get messages, I get all types of stuff, and I've never expected my impact to be so prominent. But it is, and all I do is get up and work. So community service is important, and volunteering, and just helping other people truly find themselves, like I've been able to find myself.
I love that. I love that. You just
Yeah.
truly live walking in your destiny, which is just so encouraging to
Yes.
me. I
Thank
love it.
you.
So, in the next 5 years, where is Madelyn Brene? What is she doing? How's her life?
Child, I hope to be married at some point because listen, I'm tired. You know,
Who you telling?
I am tired of
Oh,
being on the. Listen, I'm exhausted. I said the dudes have wore me out. I said I'm sick of it. No, but no. Hopefully married.
yeah.
I definitely would like to be married and really just fully enthralled in building my legacy. And when I say that, that means not even just my music with the trap opera and doing a couple of albums, some performances. I like to do some large performances, of course. But I also, have aspirations of doing my own like clothing line. I have some things coming out right now this year that's going to be, a part of that. And really just building my empire the way that I have been. I started my LLC and have branched everything under the Brene brand because there's so many things that I have to do. And I also want to be like on a talk show too. So that's like one of my ultimate goals as well,
Yeah.
is to be on like the View or the Real or something like that.
Okay. I can see
Mhm.
that. Yes.
Mhm.
You have the
Yeah.
personality
So
for it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think that I love singing, but I just never want to be married to one passion. I have so many. I love beauty. I love, fashion. I love all of it. And so there is the ability to do it all.
Yeah.
But music will always be home. Music will always be my safe place. And I've learned that music is my sanctuary. So
Mhm.
whenever I'm kind of going through stuff in life, sometimes I move away from it, not in a bad way, but I just need to go and, work on some other things. And then I come back to it and I have so much to say. I have so much to really put out for the world. And so my music that's now coming out is different because it's the trap opera. And y'all are probably gonna be like, woo, this girl is like, she letting us have it. She letting us
Yeah.
know like about the grown woman stuff. She cursing, but not in it's just a real way.
Yeah.
But it's so necessary because it's really me just saying like, yeah, I love the opera, but then I like to go eat chicken. Like that's just who I
That's what it
am.
is. It's just you're a full person. Okay, you have all these things, and I feel like that should be expressed in opera. Because what is opera without the life experience? That's what opera is about.
Exactly.
So
Well,
I love
an opera is a drama set to music.
it. Mm-hmm.
And everyday life is drama, in so many ways.
Okay.
And I just feel that there needs to be a different voice. But see, you never know how necessary your voice is until you actually just start using it.
Mm.
I thought people were gonna think I was crazy, and they did, but now they're kind of like, what, this is dope because people are now celebrating Black culture. They're
Right.
celebrating truly who we are. It's okay to be hood. It's okay to be ghetto. I know when I would be at school, they'd be like, oh, you shouldn't wear your hair like that, or your nails are too long, or whatever. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine. And here I am.
Right.
So it is so many things that we've been told not to do that we are now in the position to live freely and comfortably and feel beautiful being exactly who we are. And so that is exactly where I am right now.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That was so
Yeah.
beautifully said. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
So,
No
if
problem.
you could write an opera, what would it be
Not my whole life.
about?
No, I'm a sucker for love. I'm a sucker for love. I am a sucker for true love. I was watching Sex in the City last night.
Mhm.
Lord, I must have started crying. I mean, I
Oh,
just was crying. Oh, I was hollering. I'm just sitting on the couch crying so hard when, Big invites her friends to the wedding. And
no.
oh, it
Mhm.
was just a mess. I said, this is a mess. But when I got through watching it, I always do ask myself, like, what is the lesson in this? Like,
Hmm.
you know, um, true love does come back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like all those things. And so I definitely would write something about love because for some reason, I think that is the one thing that everybody really goes through, but still doesn't fully understand.
Right. That's
you
real.
know, like, I mean, we go through love and hurt and heartbreak, and we continue to go over it, but for some reason, we get back out there and we try it again.
Yeah.
And so, lessons in love would definitely be an opera that I would compose, and just talk about that, like being comfortable with just getting hurt again. You're just constantly, going back and forth and getting out there, playing
Right.
the game, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's just as how much love is just a central part of our lives, and we just really need it. Like that's just
Mhm.
who are we created to be. We're created to love and to be loved. And like you
Yeah.
said, people just are drawn to it every time, regardless of the consequences of the outcome, because it's just so important. And it's
What
very beautiful.
I don't care what anybody says. I mean, well, maybe someone, but I don't need no man. No, you don't. You don't.
Right.
However, I would like a man to be in my life, or a woman, whoever, whatever you prefer, whatever you want, that companionship and that human love, because you're designed to have that.
Right.
But yet and still, we first have to love God. We
Mhm.
then have to work on that relationship and foster that. And then we have to love ourselves.
Right.
And we have to be true to ourselves and find out who we are. Because now when a man comes along, he knows that he is loving Madelyn Brene, and even if he does not love it, it's okay. I can love myself. So
Mm.
I'm not looking for his love to bring magnitude to my love for myself. I'm
Mm.
looking to his love to just add to it, but it's not looking at for it to make it whole.
Right.
And I do think that that's what we struggle with. And so opera is so much about that, but so much we talk about the hurt and the pain. But I would like to talk about the beauty of love, and how it can transpire and be wonderful. But the beauty of it starts with you loving yourself first so that everything else can work around it.
Yes, I can definitely see that happen. Yeah, I can see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yes, putting
I
the
wrote a
pin
one.
in
I
there,
wrote a
okay?
one woman show.
Yeah.
I wrote a one woman show a few years
Okay.
back, and so I would do it. I would do it again. I'm in big. I like doing stuff. I'm ambitious.
I love it. I love it because I am the same. I do. If I think about it, okay, well, let me just figure out how to make it happen, and it will
Yeah.
happen.
And actually my actually I can say this because we've already started, but my upcoming album is really set like an opera on film. You know, that's how we're setting it up. So there are gonna be like recitatives in between each of the songs. Yeah. So
Whew, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to promote this. I can't wait to just put on the page, whatever. I just cannot
yeah.
wait. I cannot wait. I
It's
cannot
a yeah, it's a
wait.
visual album, and like I said, I can only talk about because we started, but you know, even making a decision to do that, that's hard. But I felt like it needed to be done because most people don't even know what an opera looks like, you know, what it really
Right.
is. And so I needed to bring it out, and you know, we'll have it to where people can see it. And so it it's a lot, but it's necessary to be done, you know.
Yes, yes, it is. You're bringing so much to the community and so much to the world because, people don't have access to that all the time. So you're doing some great and amazing work. Thank you so much. So where can they find you? When is the single? Like, tell us about what's happening next and how we can follow you and support you.
Well, there is something really big happening February February. I can't say what it is, but it is big. You'll see it on my social media, trust me. But after that, I'm the single is supposed to be out early March, and then I have a shapewear line that is coming out, so that'll be next. I
Yeah.
know there's so much, and then I have a lot of different shows and campaigns and everything, and then at the end of the year we'll be doing a Madelyn Brene collection. So
Awesome.
we are fully into a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so much good stuff. So much good stuff.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm ambitious. Some days I wake up and I'm like, really should I have done that? But hey, here we
Right.
are.
I just
Here we
remember
are.
that scripture said, "Never put more on me than I can bear." Hallelujah, Lord. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
I say
yeah.
that mentally. Yeah,
Hmm.
but I've learned my cap. I learned my cap because I'll try to do everything. I will. I'm a tourist, and we love to
Oh,
work
yeah.
and all that.
Hmm.
But I have learned my cap. I have learned to say, okay, this is enough for this year. Let me really execute this and do it well. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now. But I'm a businesswoman, and so my mind is always in business overdrive.
Yes. Yes. I love it so much.
Definitely.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So they can follow you on Instagram.
Yes, at Madelyn Brene. All of my handles are Madelyn Brene, MadelynBrene. Every single one is Madelyn Brene. Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse, which I need to start doing that. I've been so busy. But YouTube, my YouTube channel will roll out at the end of this month.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Madeline Brene. I really, really, really thank you for being here, and I cannot wait to continue to support you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.